Which one are you?
1 and 2.
You might want to get a little closer to it.
I don't know if you all are familiar with the podcast or at all. If you say certain things that that are like your strong punchline points and everything, I'm gonna say bombs or pop it, bangers. I don't know if she cued you all in. I told you about how we do things over here.
She's nothing like the lady that's at work.
What she should have done, she should have let you all know that at all. Like if you got great, accentuation points, I'm gonna say bombs just like that. So just get your ears prepared and get it ready for it, okay?
All right, so go ahead and talk on the microphone a little bit.
Don't look at her different in the morning when you walk in the window. And at the 27-minute mark during the show, she has a surprise for you. Be ready to see her naked. Bombs!
Every time, man. Every time.
Pop that bra, y'all gonna see some areola for y'all ass.
Hey, hold on, let me try to get these guys over here.
Go for it.
All right, so you
I
got
was thinking about changing my Twitter handle to
Delcia, let me get these guys. Just kind of talk amongst yourselves right here.
I guess we're just having a conversation amongst ourselves. We can't hear you at all, but you sound a little bit distant and far away.
Distant.
Right, distant, brother, and far away.
That's far away.
Right.
Okay. I'm gonna be distant and far away tonight.
Yeah, that was it, almost it.
Keep going, talk.
I thought I heard it. I don't know whether or not it was
Testing 1, 2, 12, 24, 11, magic numbers.
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay.
You still going?
testing.
All right. I think we're good. Delcia, let me get you just one more time.
Wine if you want.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Delcia, one more time, just in case.
Hello.
Sweet. Jamal, one more time.
Bombs!
Cool. We got
Pop it.
you.
We stopped in the hood to get y'all some wine, but they didn't have it. They
okay.
barefoot Moscato.
Yeah.
Barefoot pink Moscato, and I can't
So somebody else broke that. So Delcia walked back out of there with that.
Kudos to sound guy Mike.
with an attitude. No, all is appreciated, but shit.
All right, you ready?
Yeah. Reasonable Ignorance Podcast. Episode 159. We are back. Hand claps. Once again, joined by the Darkness delegations. First hand members, Delcia to my left. Hand claps.
Somebody dark skinned used to bully you and shit when you was growing up. Is that what it is?
And to the right of me, it's the Darkness of 79th Street, own Magic Mike.
South Side, man. I'm with the whole South Side.
State to Lake.
Stay to the lake. I enjoy Chicago so much that I go in early at night. This is the only time. This is the latest I'll be out at night on Wednesday nights. They shooting this motherfucker up every fucking night.
Talking about went to take my black ass home last week.
Yeah.
It was red tape on 61st and King Drive and on 63rd. Police like, where you going? I'm like, right there.
Shit.
Wait, but you get off right there.
When I
We
dropped her
couldn't
off
go down King Drive.
Wednesday night after the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 guys that got shot. One was right in front of the guy road spot. That's how bad he was on the guy road. Extra cheese and 2 shots to the ass. Yeah.
Bombs!
Yeah.
My fault. Rewind that. Pop it.
How disrespectful.
It is. We joking and being sarcastic, but 75 shot, 12 dead. We made CNN.
Yeah, I'm telling you, of course.
They calling for National Guard on Facebook.
That's not going to never happen in Chicago. That's going to fuck up the tourism here in Chicago. They're going to keep it where it's supposed to be at, in Lawndale and on the south side. They're saying when you get off when you fly in on American Airlines, I'm telling y'all, don't carry y'all asses over there past 55th Street if you want to. Go to the White Sox, go to Guaranteed Rate Field to see the White Sox and get your ass on the train and come right back downtown.
Who goes to a Fifi or a kickback or whatever they're doing on the west side. 1,000 people on the block, and you know it's potentially you're gonna get shot.
Motherfuckers that want to get shot at.
Damn.
The people that's
Motherfuckers that want to get shot at.
Man,
no,
because
they
if you know
think it's a game.
Man, if that shit is busting like that, I'm finna be 20 feet away from all you niggas.
20
Motherfuckers
feet.
wanted to get shot at.
20
I mean, the
blocks.
person that was filming that shit, he wasn't fucking running for his motherfucking
Did you see the video?
Yeah,
Did you see the
I
video?
did.
They was running like they had just announced they was getting away $100 bitch.
By Willie,
Ass off.
by Willie Wilson.
Yeah, like they said, here go Willie Wilson over here. They was tearing ass.
Popping.
There was one dude sitting on the garbage can. He wasn't worried about shit.
Oh my God.
Man, that's we.
And they probably wasn't even shooting at nobody. Probably was shooting in the fucking air.
Well, ask the 7 people that got shot.
Well, they
That
was
was
all right
on
there.
76 and Lumen.
What was that about?
That was, I told you what the new thing is now. They play slide, they tag they nemesis in it, the ops in it, and they fuck with them all day, and at the end of the night, when they know they all out, when somebody goes live, they slide.
Yeah.
So the thing is, the song was Slide is about, and you said FBG Duck was good for hip hop. I tried to tell you, no it's not. That's not good. That's Chief Keef shit all over again. They signed it. I'm quite sure it's 60 other rappers here in Chicago better than talking about shooting somebody. You know why they signed that boy? Because he had a video where he got a Tommy gun getting out the fucking oven. And everybody else in the video they said, go get him, we're gonna make him next. They gave him $60,000.
And that's what they gave him more than that.
I'm
That's
talking
what
about,
they
you know,
did.
he said they wouldn't let him on the plane through the airport because he had the money on him. He was like, this ain't even 60 G's. So, you know, we in a fucked up way, you know, and until we get it right, the next generation, man, it's terrible. These kids they don't race down the street no more. Remember, I'm not sure we all remember racing and playing it and doing games and catch a girl, kiss a girl. What all this shit? They don't do that no more. Huh?
Catch a girl, kiss a girl, catch a girl, freak a girl. That was rape culture.
Yeah, I always caught the ugly bitch. She never was running.
New music. Sound guy Mike. All white.
Get the money. Motherfucker, hustle.
For you what?
Gotta get it, get the money. Motherfucker, hustle. Chasing money. Look at that, in the bar, selling dope, selling white. Got them fiends lining up for a bump of that white. 5 deep in the bathroom, all doing white. Off a key, off a car, they gon' do it all night. Look out on the dance floor, they all geek off that white. Got them all on the floor, all geek off that white. Hoes looking for a quick buck, sniffing white all night. Got that white, they gon' chop you down for the right price. Step into the club wearing all white. Shoes and socks all white. In the pockets all white. In a whip that's all white. Got a hoe and she white. She gon' go for the white. Let her blow for the white. Don't you know I gotta get the money. Motherfucker, hustle. Gotta get it, get the money. Motherfucker, hustle. Chasing money. Got a crib and the walls all white. Got a plug and you white. Selling Cino to the white. Break it down for the right price. Line them up for the night. They gon' buy all the white. Pushing bags of the white. Got these hoes pushing white. Got them all doing white. In the club it's all white. Politicians all white. Laws are made for all white. Most these lawyers doing white. Most your jury will be white. Most of them are doing white.
Sound Mike. What the fuck is wrong with you tonight? You ain't right. Talking about all that white. What the fuck? Tonight? The white.
Shout out to Sound Guy Mike with his new album that just dropped. What's the album called?
Stamina.
Yeah. You can be able to get that on iTunes as we speak right now. And anywhere else in a couple of weeks, all over Tidal, YouTube. It's on YouTube, right?
It's on YouTube right now and Dat Piff.
Yeah.
Dat Piff is on free download.
Make sure you push the YouTube though. Push the YouTube. Ain't gonna get that Piff no more like that.
I'm gonna start working out to it in the morning.
He He wanted to choose another record. I chose that one right there, but I like that one. I like the most. That one is the one I was rocking in the car on the way here. So hand claps to you, man.
Dope.
Congratulations.
Shout out to Sound Yeah, Mike.
I pray that song will come and pull over. Get my car to the pound. Let's get the financial guys.
Tonight, hold on before we do that. Tonight's podcast is will be on iTunes, SoundCloud, and it's being filmed by the Robinson Brothers.
Blood brothers doing something together, construction.
Try not to make me look extra fat. How about that?
Slim lens, please.
There it is, right there. Can I get the slim lens, please?
Oh man, good luck. All right.
Isn't it the hot dog? You're talking to the cold.
Double door refrigerator built in.
Oh, come on. You round a burnt piece of chicken. All right.
You wish you could bite this burnt piece of chicken.
Can't y'all tell they love each other?
I can't stand this bastard.
Come on. You look like a big marshmallow right now.
Oh, they used to fuck each other.
Did you see the facial expression? Anyway.
I need to take you with me when I go get fitted for bras. What are you, like a double E or something? 52E or something, my nigga? Come on, what's up?
All right.
Like, who's sucking on whose titties when y'all doing it at night?
Okay.
Wait a minute. That's all right.
Been hanging around Magic Mike too much, huh?
Yeah, I like that myself.
Yeah, all right. All I want to do is, all I got to want to say, one word to say.
No.
Breathe. Just breathe. That's all.
Fucking, they would bloop his titties out on TV. The fuck?
Your face look like the whole big of your belly, all round. You look like the number 8.
I know.
Sitting down.
I know.
I can keep going. I'm trying to tell you, I got jokes.
Me too, I got a lot of them.
Rewind. That was the warm up. Shout out to our guest tonight from CWIM Money. All right, these are the money guys right here. Introduce yourselves, please.
Indeed, my name is Brian Johnson. I am the founder of the Wealth Initiave, otherwise CWI Money.
Okay.
And we have one of our officers.
Yeah, hello everybody, my name is Romell Dow, and I am one of the authors of the Commonwealth Initiative.
Don't get the radio voice on me, brother. Come on.
The Commonwealth Initiative, which is a financial planning and consulting firm.
How long have you guys been doing this?
Since 2012.
2012.
That's indeed 2012. That's when we started the mission to help provide financial education and services to the community in a more collaborative and colorful way. So my background is in finance, been in over 20 years, and I didn't see a lot of individuals that looked like myself. So I wanted to take those elements and skill sets and bring them to the inner city, inner community, and help individuals that look like us.
Hand claps to that.
All right.
That is right, motherfuckers. We is trying to get your credit score higher than Jamal's blood.
You gotta slow down.
That was a good one right there.
Yeah, I gotta
that
slow
was a good one.
So listen, you're targeting
I love you back, baby. I love you
targeted
back.
clients are people that look like you, African Americans, right?
Well, when we say our targeted clients are anywhere that range from 18 to retirement age,
Yeah.
and we're a global company, so we work with anyone. We work and we help various communities. However, ourselves as being founders that look like us,
Right.
we are being an example to
Right.
individuals in the community by providing a service that generally we don't tap into this field, which is finance. So.
Yeah, you gotta go into the club or to city sports when they sell these Jordans. When niggas in line when it's 50 below.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying? $400. My money ain't got a porch.
Right.
Like, hey, no man, what the fuck? You know, that bad decisions, even it out, brother. But you know, how do you all go about? Say if a guy has very like a lot of people doing credit cards. There was a guy that was coming in the shop. He was trying to show us how to do it. But I seen a lot of guys get discouraged because he showed them how to get on the phone, get on the computer, and do it. And he was like going through the process. And you could actually tell whose shit was bad. He was like, hey, man, I got a call. And he got a 412 he out the game. Just being, like they get upset, like A lot of us know we got bad credit, but when you actually see it, that number, like a motherfucker know he not graduating and pass to the next grade, to the teacher be like, summer school list, there you go right there, you know, hand you the envelope. So we try to push our way through the pain like we ignore it. How do you deal with those guys that still want to, how do they begin with the bad credit score? And do you put them on trade lines? Do you, what is your first initiative thing?
That's a great question. The reason, and let me take a step back. So the Commonwealth Initiative, although we provide financial services, one of the unique approaches that we take is through financial coaching. So everyone's at a different level. And coaching, just like you would do in football or basketball or any other sport, it's kind of like a hand-holding assistance type of scenario. So for individuals that have issues with their credit, we take a different approach whereby we sit down, we work with them, we actually pull the credit score, the credit report. I shouldn't say we pull it, but they themselves pull the actual credit report. We sit down, we go over everything, and we come up with a solution. I think that approach removes some of the frustration and anxiety with dealing with your finances. And I found out in our experiences that actually works that's more successful working, I should say, going about it that approach than taking it going to a trade line. And there's nothing wrong with that, but everyone starts at a different level.
Right.
And then a lot of times, individuals, they don't really know what their credit score may be. We have an idea, or we think that we know what our credit score is, but we haven't actually took the time to take the step to actually go and get your credit report to actually know the number or where you are at.
Yeah, some guys don't even know that you actually get it pulled like twice a year.
No, once a year.
For free.
So FCRA, that's the law. You have a right to pull, I should say you have access to your credit report once a year. Yeah. So that's what we encourage individuals to do. It's free. Go ahead and pull your credit report, sit down with someone that's a specialist. I mean, a lot of these options you can actually do yourself. So for the standpoint of adding or going through these extra steps, like you said, if you go and pull your credit report, if there's items on there that needs to be disputed or that's incorrect, you just, you dispute those items and you work with the system, a budget generally, or plan of action to get yourself on the right path.
Who do you see most likely more, what is your higher rate of clients trying to get themselves together, men or women?
Women.
Yeah.
Women. I would say our ladies are a little bit more intact. A little more bold when it comes to taking care of their finances and being on top of it. And that's attributed to being, the head of, not the head of the household. But in working with the family and making sure that they have things in alignment, so that I think that comes naturally.
Being the backbone, most guys are, shit, as long as I got this whip and this dick, and I'm buying these bottles, fuck that bitch, you know what I'm saying? So they don't think about their credit, you know what I'm saying?
That's most women that let a man ruin their credit, their mama didn't ruin their credit for them.
Well, I ain't saying all that now.
I'm saying that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but a lot of women have put numerous kids' names and bills. But by the time you're 21, you should be able to dispute that. Hey, nigga, I was 7. What the fuck? It's been 14 years since I had that Spectrum bill. Motherfucker, don't even have that shit no more. Why is it still in my credit? You know what I'm saying?
But just to add on to that, we might see more women coming to get their budget done, but we do see a lot of men coming with needing assistance on helping with starting the business or just getting the business redeveloped.
Exactly. Is there any way y'all can remove child support from credit reports? I got a baby on mine. There's a baby just sitting there. There ain't even a number.
I was celebrating last December my last child support payment. So, brother, if there was a way,
man, you should have been hand claps. Was it on a Sunday?
It wasn't. It wasn't on a Sunday.
Because I got mine down to my last payment on Friday. And Sunday I'm gonna give a testimony. I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna testify. I got 2 years. Break dance and everything.
Rewind.
Shout. We knock it off on purpose.
20 years in the business, right?
20 years in the financial services industry.
Take us back to upbringing for both of y'all. Where?
All right, upbringing, south side of Chicago, Wentworth Gardens, projects, that community.
What high school?
Well, high school, Dunbar.
What year?
Class of 99.
Class of 99, okay.
Yeah, graduated. What was that look for? What you stuck? What's the stuckness for?
I really must have spent my senior year of high school high as fuck because I graduated from Dunbar 99.
In 99.
So you mean to tell me we graduated from the same high school
In the same
year.
class.
She was stuck in the
year
lunchroom all the
with
time.
J Hood, right? Same year.
Not at all.
You were in the lunchroom all the time. These guys.
I went to South Shore.
You went to South Shore.
Yeah.
How much time did you
You
spend
most
in the
prized.
I was one of the most populous guys. Period. I came out in '92.
What year?
What school did you
That
do?
was
Dunbar.
2002.
2002.
What year you came out?
02.
From South Shore.
Yeah.
Okay, so you came out in '99.
That's what my life is. I've been fucking off since '88.
South,
30 years of bullshit.
grew up on the South Side.
That's correct.
Was your family money intensive? Were they? What made you?
No, not at all. I come from very humble beginnings. So my parents are divorced, and my dad's side of the family, I would say, were more affluent with money. So they, lived on the west side of Chicago, believed in owning real estate, had a substantial amount of real estate. So from my dad's side, that was my perspective. My mom's side of the family, we working class. You did what you had to do. Like I said, we lived in Wentworth Gardens, so it was a well-adjusted income environment, or what have you, based on your income level. Ours was adjusted.
That's a good way to put this shit right there, Magic and Delcy. Well adjusted.
So
One piece of cheese, one piece of meat,
hey.
one piece of bread.
Hey.
Fold it up. It's a sandwich, motherfucker.
Everybody was well fed.
Exactly, right. We miss a meal, so very humble beginnings, and so that spectrum of seeing, my dad's side of the family with a little bit of money, and then not having money. So I naturally wanted to know, like, hey, I want to know how to make money, what to do with money, how do I multiply it, and how do I recreate something that my granddad had? Because living with my mom, we didn't have it.
Let's get candid. Okay, let's go there and get candid.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for.
You from Wentworth Gardens.
Indeed.
You didn't fall victim to the element. Why not? And what I mean by the street element, being that you're coming from a housing project and everything, and I knew a lot of people that were from that. They were majority of they was folks that was coming to that was going to Dunbar during that time. How come you didn't fall prey to it, or did you?
I did not. So I didn't fall prey to that for a number of reasons. One, I was heavily involved in church at that time.
Okay.
So that was kind of like the barrier that protected me. So I was into other stuff. So there was that level of respect that this boy is doing something else different. He's not about the street and things of that nature. But growing up in the hood, you got to be about the street to a certain degree. You can't just get by. It ain't gonna be one. You're gonna be tried 2-3 times, for fun.
You were tried.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be tried in that environment in and of itself. But on a grander scale, I graduated like second in my class from the elementary school. So I was always Robert S. Abbott.
Okay.
So outside of that, I was doing other type of stuff that led me on the path to business. So I would do oratory competitions in elementary school, and people I should say, let me take a step back. People thought I was doing it for the sake of, I just want to speak. I was using my talent and my gift at that time, but I always got McDonald's, in school. So if I win the competition, I get treated to McDonald's. I get a free meal. Now, we didn't get McDonald's at home, so I kept winning the competition to get McDonald's. So it was things like that, that kind of kept me out, of the ruckus in the streets, and that environment kind of, definitely shaped and molded and wanted to make money. Even when I was young, I wanted to make money. So
South Shore, growing up in South Shore, right?
Well, yeah.
East
East Side crazy, but I grew up in the South Shore neighborhood, like 60th and Crandon. 6 brothers, adopted, and
adopted. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Good experience over there in the South Shore neighborhood. Graduated, went to DePaul University. From there, got my degree in journalism, and just started working in the corporate arena, and eventually hooked up with Brian, and he was starting the Commonwealth, and I just started on board with him.
Okay, where'd you go to college?
Loyola University, Chicago. So I have a degree from Harold Washington College, an associate's. Went to Loyola to get a degree in management, and then went back to their Institute of Paralegal Studies to concentrate in corporate paralegal.
Okay.
I should say to be a corporate paralegal.
So this is you've been doing it for 20 years. Both of you all been doing it for 20 years.
Well,
Right?
I've been in the industry for 20
Yeah,
years.
he's been in the industry for 20 years.
You, how long?
I've been since 2012.
2012, okay.
Yeah, since 2012.
Okay. Let's get real. Let's talk some money for real.
So,
Let's talk all bullshit aside. I was reading the other day. It was matter of fact, it was today. Magic Mike Delcia. It was. Did you see the tweet about? A young lady said something to the fact that white families give the grandmother or the grandfather, the grandparents of the white family members give their kids $50,000
Speaking of generational
cash, right? $50,000 in cash to get things started. We take our grandparents shopping.
Oh, you're talking about that one where white kids can get money from their grandparents, but we end up grocery shopping for our grandparents.
Right.
Yeah.
Your thoughts? Everybody's thoughts. Start with you.
I mean, well, I have plenty of white friends, and ain't none of their grandparents gave them 50,000 and shit. Maybe when they died, but not to start off with anything. They all got the same student loans and bills that I have.
Okay. So you think it's been? You're saying it's you're dispelling that?
I mean, depending on like how upper echelon your family is. Like, I mean,
Trump daddy gave him $1 million to start on.
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So he has a right to be arrogant and say what the fuck he want to say.
You know, just a small loan of $1 million.
It's the opposite end of the seesaw. You know what I mean? It's not a balanced playing field at all. So we don't have money coming into us. No way. Nobody in this room had money coming up.
Right.
Actually, we all was one paycheck away from being fucked up. But
I never felt like that.
Like he say, like you grew up in a church. I grew up in a church too. My grandmother grew up in a church, and I used to see them go to work no matter what. It could be snow up to their eyeballs. They got to get in there and work, you know, and that's where I get it from. So one thing about us, we have a work ethic about us. Like I hear you complain about your job all the time, but you never take off.
I do, all the time. I be calling off on their asses.
You do?
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not finna be arguing with these bitches about a day off. I got you hoes, watch this. Yeah, I'm not coming today.
I think
Roll
to
my ass straight back over.
To your earlier point, I think it's a question of wealth disparity. So when we look at the wealth of African Americans in contrast to the wealth of non-African Americans, there's a huge disparity there. And I think we need to start back and understand what wealth is, because we have a misunderstanding of the difference between wealth and riches. And you can be rich tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you can win the lottery. You have several hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you can have that money sitting in a bank account and you're just spending it day after day. That's riches. You have the money to afford to do whatever you want to do. But when you have wealth, which is something you take that $1 million that you have, you convert that into some real estate or something that's going to generate and produce money. So on top of this, the riches that I have, I took my money, converted it, that same $1 million into some type of real estate. That $1 million value is still there. So I've not lost anything. But that $1 million investment, I should say, is generating money. That's wealth. So making sure that you have some assets that's going to generate some money. And the difference is with us, we as African Americans, we don't practice sound financial management and sound tools to make sure that we pass on wealth from one generation to the next. So historically speaking, non-African Americans generally pass on wealth at a higher rate than African Americans do. And we see that every day in social media. You see Jimmy, he got killed, and before he had Tim's, he had all types of riches and things, but we're doing a GoFundMe page. Nothing wrong with GoFundMe, but that's not the intended purpose of insurance. So the point is just to draw a scenario to the fact that generally non-African Americans or white, the dominant society, they generally pass on their wealth. They generally are concerned and invest in vehicles, and that's just from experience, such as insurance, investments, making sure that they use tools to actually pass on wealth, like will, power of attorneys, trust, things of that nature. What we do is slightly opposite. we kind of live, as I'm speaking of, as the African American community, we kind of live in the now and don't necessarily plan or say or is as proactive as we could be.
Exactly, because we really just not taking the credit score serious. You know, our grandmothers didn't know nothing about no damn credit score.
Right.
You know, so because they was from the working, that blue collar. It was with the white collar. So that's why they wanted us to go to college and learn like you guys did. But on the other side is, we don't know wealth. We don't know what's valuable. You know, we live for today, not tomorrow. Like what's the name? What's the song where he says, "Fuck tomorrow, what was the night before it was sweet." You know, and there's a lot of guys that live like that. You know, they come in the barbershop the next day, like, man, we did this. We bought $6,000 worth of. You know, and I'll be like, damn, like the guys that talk with the money to the year.
Right.
And they have GoFundMes for them because nobody knows where the money is at.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Once they die.
Right.
And it's like that for many of guys. We don't take, as sure as you living, you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. So we don't take wills and insurance policies and, you know, things of that nature as serious because for some reason, we think that shit is not going to happen. One way we can help build some wealth is take these motherfucking Popeyes off the community. Pop it! Take these $5 boxes out of the community.
Hey, or, I mean, think outside the box.
I'm a fan of the $5 box.
See what I'm saying? How many
And
years?
she looks like she is a fan of the
Hey,
$5 box.
Mama Mella.
Consistently.
How many did you eat today, sir?
You're a fan.
Look here, fluffing stuff.
I didn't admit anything. You're a fan.
But look here, fluffing stuff.
I hear you.
Raise your hand.
Go for it, bro. Go for it. Finish what you about to say.
No, I was just saying, just thinking outside the box. I know oftentimes I used to be mad back in the day of and thinking like, hey, why don't we just, you know, galvanize and unify and not by night per se and take that money and invest it in some other means. And I realized, you know, after time, I'm like, you know what, the probability of that happening is probably slim to none.
Yeah.
The folk will kill you
There's two
over
chances.
a pair of gym shoes. So either I can stay in that position of defeat or I can think outside the box and know that these individuals are so dedicated to the Nike brand that they will kill in some instances or give their last to purchase to purchase some shoes. Well, I'm not going to fight with that energy. I can just go and buy me shares of Nike. And every time that these individuals are going and spending their money and buying shoes and things of that nature, I can just buy and purchase more shares of Nike and take those dividends and take that money and do something productive with the community. So just looking at things outside the box, it's not going to be advantageous to try to change people's mind and telling a grown person what they should do with their finances.
Yeah.
But we can think outside the box and say, okay, folk are not going to stop purchasing these shoes. The stock will still go up. I mean, year after year, people are still buying these shoes, but I know that people are still buying them, and the stock is going to increase, and that means that's more money for me if I'm a shareholder. And it's only, what, 50, 60, $70, depending on where the market is. And I'm not speaking as a financial advisor, but, you know, from the standpoint of an educational component, that's just logic. So if you really wanted to do something, you can get together with your boys in the community and just buy some shares of Nike. Start an investment club to do something starting locally or what have you to affect some change. It's not always, you know, hurrah, hurrah, out in the street and waiting for something big to happen. It can start right here in this actual studio.
Just like with Apple.
Exactly.
$1 trillion company. I heard a guy one day in my chairs tell me, I love Apple. I was like, nigga, you didn't even tell your grandmama that while she was alive. You waited till she was dead. She didn't know that. You really love that phone like that? It's an Apple with a fucking bite out of it, man. What the fuck? You that crazy about the Apple product that much? We've been tricked so much that we so far behind. We think we in first. And I said that last week.
That's one of the reasons why we've created these free financial empowerment seminars.
Yeah.
So we just had the first one, which is called Making Money Make Sense, Budgeting Made Easy, where we had, it was an interactive power pack, free seminar hosted by the Commonwealth at the University of Chicago Posty Center. That one was held this past Monday, July 30th.
How did it turn out?
It was a great turnout. Actually, it exceeded the capacity that we initially planned for. So I was, pleasantly surprised and happy to see that individuals were coming out to learn about budgeting. So we know that dealing with your finances, there's a system. And like Romell was mentioning, the first seminar was budgeting made easy. That's the first foundational principle to deal with your finances, no matter where you are. You need to have a budget in place to know what's coming in and what's going out. And the second phase, and we're working on in our seminar at the end of this month, is smart banking. So once we have your budget in place, we have to look at how we are handling your finances and your money, your checking accounts and things of that nature. Are you really banking? For those that don't have accounts, what are some cost advantages some economical ways to cut and save instead of going to the currency exchange to cash your check and things of those untraditional ways. And then after we go from smart banking, we're focusing on the next month, and that's in September, the state of your credit. That's equally important. I worked for one of the major credit bureaus for almost 2 years as an auditor on the background, so I have a little bit of an understanding of what it takes to kind of properly manage your credit. So we're going to really dive into that in the month of September.
Where would that be at?
It's going to be at the Polsky Center. So all of the seminars, which are free, it's the fourth Monday of every month at the University of Chicago.
Same room, same place.
Yeah, same room, Jackson Park Meeting Room, from 7 p.m. to 8:30, an hour and a half of just a power pack and fun session of understanding your money.
You will have to RSVP though. So
How do you get in contact with you guys? So, first of all, do you have any Twitter pages, social media handles, or emails or whatever?
Absolutely. So the web address is www.cwimoney.com. Again, that's cwimoney.com. And you can go to any of our social media channels. Facebook is at cwimoney.com. Twitter is at cwimoney.com. YouTube is at cwimoney.com. LinkedIn. So there's a wealth of information that's there. And if you are on Facebook, you can easily sign up right from the website.
So what are some small things that people could start doing to start budgeting their money? Like just small little tips.
Small tip. It depends on your personality. So if you're the type of person that look at money and you're kind of anxious about it, you may need some libations. You may need some wine that you have. Pour you a glass of wine and get you a letter opener and open your mail. That's the first step. You need to know what your bills are. So we need to take account of what's coming in and what's going out, right? It's 3 simple steps. So your first step is just understanding how much money you have coming in from your income, your paycheck, child support, food stamps, irrespective of what your sources are. And then once you know what that is, you need to allocate and understand what your expenses are. So again, that's 2 simple steps: understanding and writing down how much money I have coming in, and then I'm going to make a list of every expense I have, from rent to getting my hair done to nails done. If I'm going out to party, entertainment, we account for everything to the penny, which is the reason why it's important to open your mail. After you do that simple step, then you go to the next stage, which is organizing your finances, and it's called balancing. So we have to make sure that we are in a surplus, which means that you have more money coming in than you have going out. So when we start these simple things, then you can move to the next stage of saving your money. And then after you save your money, you want to go to the next stage of investing your money. And for our brothers that don't necessarily have tax identification numbers and things of that nature, there's other alternative investments like silver and gold and things of that nature. Catch that, Jewel. Gotcha.
Yeah, silver and gold.
Okay, let's rewind. Why? What was that light bulb? When did that light bulb happen? When did it click inside your head? Both of y'all. When?
The mouse came out and
Just
cut the light out.
about finance, period.
When did
Well,
let's talk for let's get to it. Sometimes I'm gonna be real short and real quick with it. Sometimes we take money for granted. Average black man takes money for granted. I'm not gonna give a ratio, but we take money for granted at times. We like what we go see when we go out and go buy the the Jordans or the Mikes or whatever as these everybody calls it, or we go out and go buy Adidas. Right.
For the whole fucking family.
The Bud Billiken Parade outfit. Nigga said he was gonna buy. He getting this outfit ready for Bud Billiken Parade this weekend.
And then gonna come to me for a free haircut for his son and a book bag. Send it
Right.
back to school. Right.
When did it click inside both of you all's heads? Like, God damn, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of being broke. Or, when? At what age? What month? If you can recollect, what time?
I mean, it was pretty clear for me. My very first job, very first financial services job was working at Morgan Stanley, downtown Chicago. So working in their compliance department back then, having that privilege and that ability to learn the wealth of knowledge that I learned.
Which year?
Which year?
Yeah.
2000.
Gotcha.
So 2000, 2001, around that time, that's when the bulb came on, and I'm looking, and I'm realizing that all of these individuals that are practicing, let me even take a step back and just be real with it.
Be real, please.
Like all the white folk had money.
Right.
So what happened for me was I grew up in this environment where we thought it was important to look good. So here I was, this 19, 20-year-old young kid from the projects, given this opportunity to work in the financial services industry, and here it is, I'm dressing nice. I went and borrowed some money to buy some new shirts and stuff from Macy's and so forth. And I had this misconception, and I thought that that was wealth. But then as I was working on this job, and I had the ability to kind of see some individuals, some of the other stockbrokers there that were working. Some of them did not look as aesthetic. They weren't as aesthetically pleasing as others. There was this one particular broker that, looked like he needed me to buy him a shirt. It looked a little rundown. I was like, man, this brother looks like he needs some help. And it wasn't until we were doing an audit in our office or something, and I think I saw one of their accounts, their personal holding accounts. Mm-hmm. And the same person who I was thinking that I wanted to buy a shirt because he looked just like this regular dude, this brother had several $1 million in his account. So for me, the bulb hit. Here it is. It's not about your red bottoms. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily about, looking with your Gucci on, which is, it's nice, but it's equally important to make sure that you have some digits in your account and that you have some assets and you're building wealth. So
at 19 and 20 though, in 1999, 2000, 2001, where were you at?
I was a college student.
Right. Where were you at?
In the barbershop.
Where were you at? 2001. Still in high school, right? I'm working at Enterprise Rental Car or working at Maryville Academy. But as a 19 and 20-year-old, and you were like, 17 years old, the majority of black males at that time are thinking about one thing: pussy. Right. Looking good, pussy, whatever, period.
A good time, period.
Bottom line. And who cuffed you? Who was the person that said, come here, let me show you some things?
Your grandfather. Both our grandfathers.
Both?
Yeah,
both our grandfathers.
Both our grandparents lived in the same community on the west side of Chicago. His grandfather owned like half the block, half the community.
Interesting.
My grandfather owned quite a bit of real estate on the west side. So we're talking about a different generation now. Yeah. Having a good time got me in trouble. So when I was
there we go. Now we're talking. Now let's get to it.
When I was 17 years old, I was a father.
Okay.
At that time. So it automatically created a different mindset when it came to thinking about myself and future and legacy. So coming from the environment of being raised, under the umbrella of our grandparents, even though I presently didn't grow up in a house that believed in necessarily entrepreneurship and things of that nature.
Right.
They had an expectation for education, but it was on my dad's side that was like, hey, it's important to own something. Not just, the clothes that are on your back. You need to own some real estate. You need to have some money to take care of your family. So those are those two different conflicting paradigms, I should say.
What's the percentage of that mindset you think was present back then and is present now?
It's still present. I think it's more magnified now. So I think.
But what kind of percentage would you say? would you say, out of 100%, what would you say, who has that mindset that your grandfather had and that your grandfather had? What would you say? I mean, I'm gonna go around the whole panel here. Start with you.
That still retained that mindset.
Yeah, that had that mindset. Period. That mindset of owning half the block at that age, or you understand where I'm coming from, or is my question too loaded?
A few family members in my family that it's probably only a few family members in my family that have actually, took that knowledge and implemented it.
What would you say? 3 out of 10? Let's say 10 family members. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, probably 3 out of 10.
You saying what number for you and your family and for everybody in your network at that time, at that age?
In my family, I was primarily the only person thinking about it from that perspective. I do have some cousins, my cousin Alex and Eric and a few others on my dad's side, because we're my grandfather's kids. We still have that mindset when it comes to entrepreneurship and real estate and investing.
So you would say it's 4 of you all?
About 3 or 4 of us, yeah.
What about you?
What?
Did you have the mindset? You put the phone down. The mindset of you're in college at that time, 99, 2000. Your grandmother raised you. What was the mindset that she implemented on you as far as finances back then? Or did she?
Dropped me off at the train station when I went away to college with a check for $500 and said, "We'll see you Thanksgiving." So I had to take that money and make it do what it do. I've always been financially savvy.
You always budgeted all the time, right?
Always, all the time. I mean, because I cook. Like my senior year of high school, I forgot what I wanted to say. I was saving for something, and I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll sell cookies for $4 about this bitch. So in my food service class, I would stop at the Jewel, pick up all of my ingredients, come back, cost out my recipes. I knew it cost me exactly 23 cents to make each cookie.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And this was in high school. Like, I was helping the other kids cost out their recipes in high school. Like, that was my shit. So I started selling cookies in October by my birthday. I probably had like $4,000. And perfect time for me to sell them was like at the end of the night to all of the dudes that was selling crack up the street.
So the $500 was
that was, my dad gave me that money. That was just to get whatever I needed, because it wasn't like I was moving into an actual dorm. They were like real life apartments.
Gotcha.
I took the train. My grandmother, she gave me a debit card. All the little $50 she used to take from me when I worked, that was what was on the debit card plus something extra. When it's gone, it's gone. Ain't no more.
Magic, 19, 20 years old. What's your mindset as far as finances and money?
I was drinking genuine drinks, having a good time. Then I got broke as hell, lost my job, and I was hungry than a motherfucker. I don't never want to feel this pain in my stomach ever again, because I had too much pride to ask somebody for some money.
I'm glad you brought that up.
And I didn't want to ask nobody for nothing to eat. I said, I'm going to work this out on my own. I didn't want to tell my mother I was fucked up. I didn't want. You knew I was fucked up, but I didn't want to, wear it on my face. So the next job I held it down all the way. I was a mailman. Then I got a job at that's what it had me having 2 jobs at a time. I was a mailman. I was a busboy at Intercontinental Hotel downtown. And then once I started doing a mailman, I became a delivery guy, a messenger for Search Speedy. And I used to walk all over downtown. They used to give me the money. I used to keep the money myself because I needed money. You know what I mean? So before Chase Bank was Chase Bank, there was another
First
bank.
National Bank of
Yeah,
Chicago.
and that's where I had my first checking account at. And I was just excited to do it. And I just wanted to have me some money. I never wanted to have that feeling where I couldn't even buy myself a motherfucking hamburger. That $1 hamburger with the little 4 fries on the side, I couldn't even get that. And I was hungry than a motherfucker. I used to hop the L to go downtown and fill out applications. Hop the L. Jump over the turnstile. I'm talking 89 and 90. Hop that train, go down there. I used to let other motherfuckers go first because sometimes they'll be hiding, the detectives will be hiding behind where you paid at. So if they were hanging behind there, they see somebody hop their hill, they grab them first. So I let all 4 or 5 people go up in there, we cool. Popped.
And that goes back to the whole ideology that we, you know, as blacks, we always in survival mode. You're trying to teach now living
Indeed.
instead of being in survival mode. What do you consider percentage now in this digital age of how many people that you come across or that you deal with, both you all deal with, are still in survival mode versus living mode?
I think to a large degree, I would say over 50% are in survival mode. And I think that's the majority of all of us when we think about it. When we live day to day, not many of us have the opportunity to sit and be retrospective and you think about a vision. Although, you know, the good book says without a vision you perish, and we all need a plan in place. But because, I mean, just the cares of life that's happening, we don't have that time. You know, you want to, you come from a good heart, you want to make sure that you're budgeting and taking care of everything, but you know, you really have to take care of Jimmy and John, and Mama called and somebody else came up. So these skill sets that we're referencing and referring to and talking about with financial empowerment, it's not taught in the school system. So we weren't taught these skill sets, and generally speaking, based on a wealth gap that we were talking about, it's not a cultural thing that we practice as often. We don't, when I say it's not a cultural thing, meaning we don't have this conversation we're having right now about money. If we had this type of conversation more often, I think that would help change the dynamic. It would help make it more easier for individuals to have a conversation about, hey, brother, what are you doing with your money? Like, what did you learn from your folks? Because there could be something